Okay, I just want you to kind of get a little refresher from yesterday because I threw a lot of formulas at you yesterday. So we're going to do one of each kind just real quick. And then your job is to finish practice 3 and practice 4 today. Those need to be done when you come in on Monday. All right, so just a reminder, your first question when you're trying to find an angle or an arc is where is the vertex of the angle, okay? So your options are the center, on the circle, inside, or outside. Once you pick one of these, then you know which formula to use, okay? So we're going to look at this one. All right, and something that will help, notice the angle they're giving you. So they're either going to give you an angle or you got to find the angle, okay? So trace it in this order. I'm looking for M, Q, P, all right? So when I go to that vertex right there, my vertex is Q. Notice it is on the circle. It is actually on that circle right there, okay? So if I know that, if I look back at my formula, on means angle equals 1/2 arc. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to write angle equals 1/2 arc. Now on these I know it's not as difficult, but when you get to equations and having expressions representing angles, you need to make sure you know how to write out the formula, okay? So they're telling me my angle is 42. And they're asking for this arc, which is right here. So I'm just going to call it X. Well, in order to solve that, that's read as 1 divided by 2. Well, the opposite would be multiply by 2. If I do it on this side, I have to do it on this side. So my answer would be 84. Okay? All right, so figure out where your angle is and then use your formula. Okay. All right, we're going to do another one. So let's go here. All right, and I want right there. Okay. So when we read this, they're giving us an arc. Okay, so they're telling us BD is 82. So right here, they're telling us an arc, and they want us to solve for X if this. So they're saying angle, notice how I trace it. I go in this order. B, C, D is 3X plus 27. And what you want to know is where is this vertex? Okay, so notice this vertex is at the center. So when we go to our formulas, which remember I have these written on the sideboard, I go to center right here, which means my angle equals my arc. Okay? So I'm going to write that down. So angle equals arc. 3X plus 27 equals 82. Subtract your 27, or you can use Desmos. So that would be, let's see, 77, 57, and then divide by 3. 19. Okay? All right, so we just talked about when your vertex is on the center, or at the center and on the circle. Now we're going to look at inside, outside. Okay, so this, you should have this paper. This is Unit 7, practice number 4. Okay, there's a couple we're going to look at. All right, so number 5, right here, notice they are giving you arc DN. Okay, so you know this arc, and they want this arc right here. So in order to use your formula, you have to use the angle that opens up to those arcs. Okay, so here's what I mean. If I trace this angle and pretend that's like a Pac-Man mouth, okay, eat that green arc. That's how you know that's the angle that you need, okay? And remember, it's really both of these angles because their vertical angles are going to be the same, okay? Now, here's the issue with number 5. They give you angle NCA. So NCA. CA. They give you that angle. That's not the angle that we need, okay? So, in order to find this angle, remember, and this is something that does not go away, these two angles right here, this one and this one together, make this straight line, which is 180 degrees, okay? So that pink angle right there is 180 minus 68, which would be 112. So the angle that you have to use in your formula is 112, not the 68, okay? The angle you use has to open up to the arcs that you are going to use. Well, you have to use the green arcs because that's the only one you know, okay? And you're looking for this arc, okay? So now, the pink angle, that's my angle I'm using, this vertex right here is just somewhere inside your circle. So look, somewhere inside, so I'm using this formula. So I'm going to write that formula down. Angle equals 1/2 arc plus arc. So now we're going to plug everything in. The 112, the pink, is the angle. The 144 and X are your arcs. So it's going to look like this. Or X plus 144. That doesn't matter because you're adding, okay? When you're solving this, you can use Desmos, okay? If you know how to solve with Desmos, do it. Or you can do the algebra. So here would be my suggestion. I would get rid of this 1/2, okay? Because if you distribute, you're going to end up having to deal with fractions and decimals, which is not wrong, it just makes it harder. So if I multiply by 2, so if I say 1/2 times 2, they cancel out. Because remember, this is the same as dividing by 2. 1 divided by 2. Well, if I do that on the right side, I have to do that on the left side. So I get 224 equals 144 plus X. Now I can subtract 144. So that would be 80. Okay. All right. So that was one thing I wanted you to see. Okay. All right. So if you open, I want you to find number 10 right here. Okay. So just the back of that page. So when you're looking at this, you will see, find your angle, you will see that you have this angle, which opens up to this arc, and this arc, because remember what's true about this angle and this angle. They're the same. They're vertical angles, okay? Now, the vertex of this angle, again, is somewhere just inside your circle. Not necessarily at the center, just somewhere inside. So when I look over on my board to the side, you should see these formulas. So it's somewhere inside. So again, I'm using this formula, okay? So angle equals 1/2 arc plus arc, okay? So my angle is right there, my 40. My arcs are the green, okay? So I have 40 equals 1/2 x plus 9 plus 2x plus 5, okay? From here, you can use Desmos or you can do algebra, okay? So I showed you algebra on the last one. I'm going to show you Desmos on this one, okay? So I'm going to scoot this over, get my Desmos pulled up, all right? And you can go here and you can say y equals 40 and y equals 1/2 x plus 9 plus 2x plus 5. Okay, so notice this is the left side, or right side, this is the left side. And then when we're here, we can find where they cross. Okay, so x is going to be 22. Now, notice what they have you do. They want you to then plug back in and find a couple measurements. So they want arc AB. They want this arc. So AB is x plus 9 which means you got to take that x and plug it back in. So you get 31. CD is 2x plus 5, so same thing, you got to plug that back in. So you get 44 plus 5 be 49. Okay, so those are your angles inside, okay? So flip over to the next page. We're going to look at ones that look like number 2. All right, so let me make this larger for you. There you go. All right, so again, you're going to highlight your angle, which opens up to these 2 arcs. Okay, we know one of them, but if you notice, that covers the entire circle. So in this case, you can find that little arc by saying 360 minus 243, which would be 117. Now, that happens when they are hitting like tangent lines right here. They're only hitting one point on the circle. That is not true over here. Like notice this little arc and 80 does not make up the whole circle. Okay, it's just pieces of the circle. Okay, so make sure you see the difference there. All right, but this vertex is outside your circle now. It's randomly out here. It's not inside. So when we look at our formulas, we are using this formula right here. So I'm going to write that down. Notice the only difference is it's a minus. Remember, if it's outside of the circle, think you're taking away from the circle. Okay, minus means take away. All right, so angle equals 1/2 arc minus arc. Now, when you're subtracting, the order matters, okay? You have to do the larger arc minus the smaller. So 243 minus 117. And I want angle 1 is what I'm looking for. Okay, so look, there's my angle, there's my arcs. Okay, and then you can simplify. All right, so you can go over here to Desmos, 1/2, 243 minus 117. So angle 1 equals 63. Okay, so you got to pick out your 2 arcs and your angle. All right, so over here it would look a little bit different. Notice my angle is still outside, but I don't have to find that smaller arc, okay? It would be angle 1 is 1/2 80 minus 32, okay? So make sure you see, the only reason I did this is because both arcs together create the whole circle of 360, okay? All right, go down to number 8, okay? This is one that usually throws people off. Here's my angle. Again, look at this. When I trace these 2 arcs, they end up creating the entire circle, okay? So just like up here, I'll make it larger for you. Maybe, there we go. I had to take my larger arc and subtract from 360 to get my smaller arc, because together they made the whole circle, okay? It's gonna work the same way, it's just I don't have a number to subtract, okay? So notice here, X is my larger arc, so my smaller arc would be 360 minus X. Okay, so think about this. If X right there was 200, well then I would say 360 minus 200. Okay? All right, so again, this angle, this vertex right here is outside the circle. Okay, so look right here. Outside, here's my formula. Okay, they're on the board, remember. So angle equals 1/2 arc minus arc. So angle and then arc minus arc. Okay, so my angle is 68. Remember, it's the large arc minus the small arc. Okay, now I'm going to write it like that. But if I solve it like that, it is going to be wrong, okay? Because remember, I want this whole arc minus this whole arc. So I have to group all that together. I have to subtract 360 and subtract negative x. Okay, so be careful there. If that second arc has more than one term, you have to put it in parentheses. Okay? Now, from here, you can use Desmos, y equals this and y equals that. Or you can do some algebra. So we could simplify the top, or the inside, I'm sorry. That would become plus x, because you'd have a negative times a negative. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my 1/2. So I would have 136, 2x minus 360. So we're going to, let's see, 20 plus, yeah, add 360. So that would be 496. And then divide by 2. So 248. Okay, or remember, you could go here and do y equals 68 and y equals that. And you should get it to cross at 248. All right, I'm going to show you one more just to make sure we're all good, okay? All right, so flip that over. Okay. And we are going to do number 12 right here. There were some marks left off that should have been put right there. Okay, so what that means is this arc is equal to this arc. Okay, all right, so we're going to highlight our angle. So here's my angle that I'm talking about. Here's my vertex, so I can already tell it's outside, and I've got 2 arcs that are inside us. What 2 arcs would that Pac-Man mouth eat? So notice it would eat both of those green arcs, okay? It's outside. Here's my formula again, okay? So angle equals 1/2 arc minus arc, okay? So my angle is 4x plus 10, okay? And then I need both of my arcs. So it would be the larger one, 6x plus 55 minus 17. That order matters. When you're subtracting, you have to have the large one minus the small one, okay? All right, so since we did algebra on that last one, I'm going to go here and use Desmos. 4x plus 10 was my left side. And then 6x plus 55 minus 17. There we go. Okay. So look right there. My answer is 9. X equals 9. Okay. Now notice they ask you to find several other things. Okay. So let's go back here and do a little bit of math. All right. If they want angle ACE, that's this pink angle. Well, angle ACE is 4x plus 10. So we've got to take that 9 and plug it in. 4 times 9 plus 10. Okay, if you put that in Desmos, you should get 46. You get 36 plus 10. Okay. All right, then they want some arcs. So now they want arc AE. Well, notice that's right here. That would be 6x plus 55. So again, I'm going to plug in 9, 6x, 6 times 9, plus 55. So that would be 109. Okay, so I'm going to write this right there. Okay. All right, now the last 2, okay, look right here. They want ED and AB. Okay. Well, remember what we said, and these marks were left off, so make sure you have added them. Those 2 are congruent. Those 2 congruent marks I put on there because they were left off the printer copy, okay? So all the blue and all the green arcs total make up the whole circle. So 17 plus 109 plus both of the blues should equal 360. Okay? So we got to think about, I need to take these two away from 360. I need to get rid of those. Okay? Let me scoot this over a little bit. There you go. All right, so 360 minus 109 minus 17. Okay, so these two blue arcs together equal 234. But remember, we said they're the same, they're equal. Okay, which means I got to take that 234 and I got to split it evenly between them. Okay, so these two arcs are 117 and 117. And just to make sure, if I add those arcs all together, look, we get 360. Because remember, all the way around a circle is 360. That does not go away. Okay? All right, so right here, we would have 117 and 117. Okay? All right, so that kind of gives you a little mixture of all the different problems. So remember, use this. It's over on the board if you need it, okay? When you come in on Monday, we'll go over these, we'll answer any questions you have, and then we are quizzing on Monday, okay? So if you finish early, there's a little quiz review you can work on, okay? Know your formulas. You have to know your formulas, all right? They do not give them to you on your exam.